Good evening, students. Welcome to Dr. Kalam IAS Academy. In this session, we'll discuss a very important topic that is very much pertinent to our day-to-day life and also you as a civil servant. Before we get into this topic, let me ask you one question. What is that one important thing? What is that one important thing according to you? One important thing according to you, which is most important, most essential for you to clear civil service. One important thing, like already, like you have started preparation. Don't get biased with the title. One important thing which one should have to get through this examination. Anyone?
Persistence, sir.
Please be louder.
Persistence.
Very good. Persistence. Then
Perseverance.
persistence, perseverance. Very good. Then okay. Why you said that these are persistence or perseverance are the main important things? What was the reason behind that?
Because it's easier to get distracted and like have some breaks and discontinue preparation in between. So we need to be persistent in the efforts and like daily activities.
Okay, very good. Any other thing?
Because it's a long process and there is a chance that we may get attracted to something else. Or there may be a lot of obstacles that we'll have to face.
Okay, good. Okay, like good enough. But I'll tell you one thing. One important thing needed to get through civil service is a very, very good notes according to syllabus, crisp, according to syllabus. More important, especially with respect to your optionals. Think, you have got a notes according to syllabus, crisp, very good notes. If that kind of notes is given, like you can clear the things very, very fast. So dear students, in my experience, more than 95% of the students who have made notes, to be specific, short notes, according to the main syllabus, keeping in view of the previous year questions, have cleared. As I said, those who have persisted, those who had perseverance, definitely they have cleared. That is the reason you might like often see 10th only 44%, now IAS, 10th failed, now IAS. And there are so many examples, IIT, IIM, these people have not cleared. Dear students, here two things make civil service difficult. One is the number of students appearing, and the vastness of the syllabus. Vast, it is vast. These are the only two things. Civil service syllabus is the most simple syllabus. There is nothing like differential, there is nothing like calculation. It's simply social science. Above all, you should have emotional intelligence. It's very, very important because this is an exam which is different. So before I forget, I would like to give you a very important thing. You may call that a secret for you to get high marks. That is, please go through toppers papers. Toppers papers. If not now, after you complete the syllabus. Otherwise, like whenever you get any toppers paper, you keep them in your folder, mail, or anywhere. See, think that I am a topper. I got top marks in UPSC 2015 ethics paper. What I think, how I write, it won't change. So their marks papers are important. When you go through them, you will understand like how they have made the things clear, simple. Say for example, emotional intelligence. What toppers do? They understand this topic, and since they understand this topic, they are in a position to write in their own words. Is it clear? Don't try to mug up anything. Have clarity with respect to the topic. You go and take and check any topper's paper. They're very general. What you need is just 50 to 55% of the total marks, my dear students. So you need to have a good understanding of the concept. Right? Having said that, let us begin with the topic emotional intelligence. Let me ask you, think and reflect on yourself. How are you feeling now? Think it over, give a thought. If you wish, message in the chat box. How are you feeling now? Let me make this question easy for you. Take these two parameters. One, with respect to your feelings, mental status, like mind related, like here, which is there. 5 means now sitting in ethics class, you will be feeling this is one of the best thing ever happened in my life. Top. This is 0 and this is 5. If it is negative, then this will be the worst thing which has happened in your life. Okay, where are you with respect to feeling? Same with respect to energy. Take this as a 0. -5, minus, +5. -5 means almost like if we give lenience or something, if you have full freedom, or if you don't have something, you will be willing to sleep. +5 means almost like you're not in a position to sit in your place. You want to bounce back. That is the energy level what you have. This can be made in another way. Pleasantness of the feelings, the same thing. This I have taken from the Yale institution. How are you feeling? Then, can you please describe what you are feeling in one word? Hope you're not simply going through the things. You're trying to put the things with respect to pleasantness or feelings, what you have, and the energy level. Look at where are you. This is 0 and this is 0. These are all minus. These are plus. Look at yourself. Where are you? Are you with full of energy and also a pleasant feeling? Are you with no energy and also not feeling very bad? Negative? Where are you? And try to come up with one single word which can express what you are feeling. Most of us find it very difficult to come up with one word. This will be a very, very important chart for you. Here, after thorough analysis, they have come up with these things. So go home, you analyze, and you put all these things in your answers with respect to happy. When you are feeling happy, what is the meaning? Means you're feeling good, and also energy is high, like that. So analyze the things and inculcate all these things in your answer, right? Where are you on the mood motor, which I have shown? What caused you to feel this way? If you are somewhere here, why you are like that? What word best describes your current feelings? What are your expressing, how you are expressing these feelings? Given how you feel, what strategy will you use to get them? These are some of the very important things which we'll be elaborating. So intelligence. Before we understand what is emotional intelligence, it is very pertinent to understand what is emotion and why it is intelligent, how it is intelligent. What is intelligence, dear students? Intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. Intelligence is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. See here, we are not equating intelligence to knowledge. We are not equating intelligence to skill. It is the ability to acquire these things, right? Then it is general mental ability. It is the problem solving ability. It is the ability to comprehend. It is the ability to analyze. It is the ability to correlate the things, right? It is intelligence. What is emotion? What is emotion? Can anyone tell me? Like, we already have these things. What is emotion? Let me explain it. Emotion is a mental state. Emotion is a thing which happens in mind. It's a mental state associated with your nervous system. So it is a mental state which is associated with your nervous system, brought on by chemical changes in response to your ABC, affect behavior and cognitive components. Think it over. This is one of the finest definitions you can get on emotions. It is a mental status. This mental status is associated with the nervous system. This nervous system is this mental state which is associated with the nervous system is brought on by the chemical changes. So everything, say for example, the feeling what we have, angriness, pleasant feeling, all these things are because of the chemical changes which happen. So brought about by the chemical changes in response to ABC, right? Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you. Emotional intelligence is your ability to make emotions work for you. Means, say for example, if you are in a very like sorrow kind of state, or something not that energetic, how can you make that a very useful thing to you? Means you have to do those things which can be done in that emotions. Say, for example, when you are feeling low, you can understand others' feelings better. Say, for example, often our celebrities, all these people, have you like majority? Has anyone said like I have enjoyed my life like anything? I have not done any, like I have not gone through any tough situations. Think how many of your celebrities or how many of sports stars you cherish often say like this? Very, very few. Most often they say that I have gone through very terrible experience, mental breakdown. I have put a lot of work. If anybody puts this kind of work, definitely they will clear. Here they are attaching you with your emotions by a very, very important quality known as empathy. You have to connect with them. Emotional intelligence is a thing which is related to you and also others. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. Whatever feelings you have, whatever emotions you have to use them for your prosperity, not against them. Then in UPSC, how to make your emotions work for you? This is a question given in UPSC. Not the second one. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. Do you agree with this? Explain was the question. In UPSC, how to make emotions work for you? Dear students, first and foremost for this, it's a general thing, just a very, very pertinent thing which is needed for clearing the examination. That is the reason I'm saying. Please practice this. Take this as a secret or one of the bonus point from me. Already I have given you one secret. What is that? To get good marks, especially in mains, please go through toppers' answers. Please go through toppers' notes. This is very, very important. As a teacher, I shouldn't tell this, but this is in fact true. Because these are the people who have been accepted by UPSC. Not like I may be having more knowledge after reading this one, but the way they write, because of that, they have got good marks. Right? When it comes to you clearing civil service, first of all, dear students, very, very important. Please, like a law, please do follow this. Affirmation. You should have daily affirmations. Say, for example, if I'm reading, Gagan, you told like sometimes you may be low, sometimes you should have some affirmation. Like you should say to yourself, come on, you will make it. I'll be IAS at any cost. I'll read at any cost 10 hours per day. Like that, you should have some affirmations. That should be simple and that should arouse a motivation kind of thing. Affirmations. See, very important. Please make those things. These are the secrets of clearing prelims and also mains exam. You should have affirmations. Then visualization. You should visualize yourself as getting IAS. All people around the state congratulating you. This boy has got first rank. This boy has got IAS. Visualize yourself, all your parents, like all your relatives, all they coming together, celebrating you. You are the celebrity, the one of the most important celebrity on that day. You have to visualize those things. Next, gratitude. Dear students, this is one of the most important thing lacking. We often forget what we have. See, more than 3% of the populations are physically handicapped. They're not having at least one of the organs which you have. Today, dear students, there is nothing to worry. Under Food Security Act, under MG Narega Act, if you ask there, you'll get free food. No need to bother. Life is not that difficult. Always have a mentality of gratitude. Just every day, just say to yourself, oh God, whatever you have given, it's a very great thing, more than enough for me. Always you can have gratitude only when you look into those people who are very, very bad compared to you. Very, very bad. You should have affirmations. You should visualize the things. You should have a gratitude, no complaint. My father did not do like this, or my friend did not help. No, whatever you have, enough. This is with respect to beauty or anything. Physics, some may say that I am very short. Others, they say that I am very tall. Some say that I am very dark. Others say that I am very, very fair. So don't find any difference, any fault in you. You are a masterpiece created by God. Have the attitude that all the people who are taller than you are lambos, means abnormal. All the people whose height are below are short fellows, dwarf fellows. All those who are fairer than you think that they have got some disease. This can happen when you have the gratitude. If I have that, if I had this, no. Whatever is there, is there. See, difficulty is different from sorrow. Difficulty is different from sorrow. Almost all the civil service teachers, they work more than 10 hours per day. Difficulty. If they think that they are the only people who are working, all their classmates or with whom they prepared are enjoying their life, that is sorrow. Dear students, difficulty is different, sorrow is different. All individuals, say for example, if you think there is God, or if there is something like existence, if you think that is fair, in my opinion, all individuals, irrespective of any gender or anything, they have got equal difficulties and equal happy moments. All, whatever may be their status, don't repent for anything. So you should have an attitude of gratitude for what you have. If you the day you think like whatever I have is enough, whatever happened has happened for good, whatever will happen in future will also for the best, then you will be very, very happy, my dear. Right? You should have that one. Then with respect to the next one, motivation. Here, if you have affirmation, if you have visualization, if you have gratitude, you'll get motivation. Here in this regard, you will need motivation, not on daily basis, on hourly basis. Dear students, to end the things daily, please make one affirmation, one visualization, one gratitude. This all will be leading to motivation. After you get up, before you step down on the earth or get out of your bed, just do these things, not more, just 1 minute. It will be more than sufficient for you. Difficulty is different, sorrow is different. Right? These are some of the important things which we'll be discussing today. Emotional intelligence is being smart with your feelings. That means the same. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. You should have a very brief understanding of this term and their origin. Emotional intelligence or emotional quotient is a very, very new term. It was coined in 1990 by Peter Solvay and John Mayer. Both are from America. So just know about Peter Solvay and John Mayer. But it was Don Goleman who popularized the thing, who popularized the term in his 1996 path-breaking book, Emotional Intelligence. Very easy to remember. Just remember Don Goleman. What is the name of his book? Emotional Intelligence. He popularized the term which was coined by Peter Solvay and John Mayer. Nothing more required here. Let us understand. Before 1990, like before the term came into being, what was the understanding about emotions? Please concentrate. I will be telling very crisply concept which you have to internalize, which you have to interpret, which you have to interconnect. In a very simple way, please make whatever I'll be teaching here as the basis for your understanding. Before that, before the term came into being, what was the understanding of emotions? They thought that emotions are irrelevant to human action. Before 1990, before the term emotional intelligence was coined and popularized, people felt that emotions are irrelevant to human action. Human emotions are irrational and disruptive. Do you also sometimes feel like that? Some even say, like, you emotional fool. You get excited. At the same time, you get anxious. Say, for example, you're at home. Suddenly you get anxious, anxiety. What am I doing? Will I get service or not? It's said that 10,000 people apply, 5,000, 10 lakh people apply, 5 lakh right. In that 1 or 2 lakh, very serious. In that there is only 1,000 posts. In that 1,000, only 50 or 100 IAS. I don't want Andaman Nicobar Group B service. I want IAS. Where am I? History, geography, environment, ecology, polity, climate change, disaster management. What should I read? What shouldn't I read? India Yearbook, 1,000 pages. Economic Survey, 1,000 pages. What to read? Here, very important, dear students, point in context. If you think of your success in civil service, your productivity goes down. Don't ever think. Take my word. I will study 8 to 10 hours per day. Every week, I will take half day break. If you want, you take 1 day break also. I prefer off day. Say off day, you have to take break. Because otherwise, whatever you read may not incorporate into your brain. This is the strategy done by the successful candidates. Others, they'll be mourning day in and day out. They will be thinking about this thing. Whether they're studying or not, always they're anxious. I want to read, I want to read. Don't think about the result. Take 1 day at a time. Even if you take 1 year, it is just 365 days. You have got only 365 steps. So when you are getting emotional, when you are getting anxious, you feel that emotions are irrational and they're disruptive to your normal human action. Emotions merely happen to people. Emotions simply happen. Say it is often said, say for example, is a very tough guy. Yes, like in many Telugu movies and Southern Indian movies, and in most of the movies, it does happen. He beats like 10 to 15 gigantic people. But when it comes to heroine, or when he sees that, he becomes like a child, or he is afraid. Why is that? So it was thought they are irrational, they are destructive, they simply happen with no reason. At best, the impact of emotions on action is indirect and insignificant. So very important. It was thought previously that these emotions are not in any way useful to human action. If it is there, indirectly and in an insignificant way, they will be affecting human actions, not directly. Then what was the relation between emotions and reason? Think it over. Are emotions based on reason, logic, knowledge? It was said that emotions and reasons are dealing with two different kind of mental phenomena. There is a dichotomy between the two. Are you getting me? So they said that emotion and reason, they're entirely different. Previously, we saw how they are related to action. Here now we are coming to the real reason, rational thought itself. It was thought that emotions and reasons are not connected. In fact, there is a dichotomy between them. They are entirely two different mental phenomena. Emotion is inferior and disruptive to the normal and optimal functioning of the brain. Emotion is inferior and it is disruptive to the optimum functioning of the brain. So, for this reason, they thought that emotion should be controlled. According to those thought, the reason for something is a fact or situation which explain why it happens or what causes it to happen. On the other hand, emotion was conventionally considered opposite to the finest human ability of reason. Means what is the meaning? Emotions are irrational. They're not based on reason. The emotions what you have is based on something suddenly which happens. It is disruptive. It is not based on any reason, logic, or knowledge. So they thought that emotion is primitive. Emotion is unpredictable. Emotion is undependable. First thing, it is not based on reason. Previously we discussed, it is not helping in any way or related to our human actions. Emotions are primitive, unpredictable, undependable. So, and thus, they need to be controlled by reason, was a thought before 1990s. After 1990, post-development, the dichotomy was questioned. The dichotomy between emotion and reason was questioned. They started thinking, reason and emotions have a link. Please understand these things. What all we have discussed post 1990, those were the things which were wrong. So what you have to write? The opposite of those things, right? This is what emotional intelligence has proved after coining the term. So emotions and reasons are integral and supportive to each other rather than antagonistic and conflicting. Your knowledge, your thought, your reasoning, and the emotions you have are interrelated. Your emotions are helping your reason. Not only that, they are integral, they are dependent. Let me give you an example. When you just turn back, you saw a lion. What will you feel? How will be your emotions? Will you feel like sleeping? Say, for example, you are already 30 minutes late for a train. You'll be anxious. Your body becomes warm. You'll be very, very active. Don't you think these are having some reason behind those things? So, dear students, very important. This connectivity you won't get anywhere. Here we are connecting emotions with reason. Previously, we discussed how it was ignorantly perceived wrong, right? Emotions are typically not the result of deliberate intellectual calculation. They are not necessarily irrational or non-rational. Very important thing. First is, emotions are not necessarily irrational or non-rational. At the same time, they are not deliberate. You are not arousing any emotion on your own. You are not making any intellectual calculation. Okay, now I want this emotion. So this emotion, please come. It's not like that. They are not deliberate and they are not intellectual calculation. At the same time, they are not irrational. Emotions are evaluative and responsive patterns that emerge through the evolution of the species and development of the individual. A very, very important thing. Emotions are evaluative and responsive patterns. What you are getting are evaluative and responsive patterns that have emerged through the evolution of the species and the development of the individuals. Evolution of the species, the emotions what we have got now is the result of the evolution of thousands of years back. Man has evolved. During this process, for the external environment, for the things he has faced, emotions are the evaluative and responsive patterns which have emerged through evolution. Means the emotions we get for some of the situations are not the things which we get because of the things happening today. These are the things which we have as humans have developed in the process of evolution and also the development of the individual, right? Emotions serve the function of providing appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, or beneficial. Don't you feel so? Emotions serve the function. What are the functions of emotion? They are providing appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, beneficial. Say, for example, a small child. If you show some chocolate, it will be very happy because it feels that it is beneficial. If someone says, like, ghost will come or dog will come and pick you, the child may be afraid. So here they are appraising the situation. Then what is the take home? Emotions are based on reason because they are appraising the things, what is happening. They're not irrational or something which comes without anything. Simply they won't come. They are the appraisals about whether what is happening is harmful, threatening, or beneficial. Emotions provide reliable information about the situation and ourselves and provide the best ways to effectively achieve our end. So, emotions provide very reliable information about the situation and ourselves. Whenever, say for example, when you are in college or any place, you come across a very strict teacher. On the other hand, you come across a very soft teacher. So What will be the thing? In both the cases, think that you have not done homework. Emotions are providing reliable information about the situation. Okay, oh, this school teacher, take it light. So these are not irrational, these are based on reason. Why? They are the appraisal. And also they are giving reliable information about the situation present in which we are. Emotions are integral to the process of reasoning and decision making. See, first of all, we as civil servants are involved in decision making. So this is the one important thing which you have to apply in your answers. How emotions are important for reason, how emotions are important for decision making. Right? Then intelligence and IQ. Intelligence and IQ, a very, very famous thing. Already you might have come across in many places. IQ test employed for selection, diagnosis, and evaluation in all parts of the society. IQ tests almost everywhere they are used for selection, diagnosis, and evaluation. Intelligence is more a result of individual opportunity to learn skills and information. So in IQ test, what they are testing will be one of the main criteria, or one of the things which will be influencing is the opportunity they have got to learn and the information which they have got. And one of the most important thing, validity of the IQ test decline with reference to job performance or salary. Means if one is having more IQ, it doesn't mean that he will perform very good in job. It doesn't mean that he will have high salary. When the situation changes, or when the situations are changing at a greater rate, your IQ test validity declines. IQ test measures only a restricted aspect of human intelligence, intellectual ability, and IQ tests have a cultural bias. Why? Because these are the tests which have been formulated by Westerners. Is there any Andaman Islander or a Chenchu who has based IQ tests? No. These are based on the Western thought. Western people have created these things. So they have a cultural bias. And this IQ is not having heartbeat. In a society, we are dealing with people. It is not having heart. And there are several kinds of intelligence in that. Emotional intelligence is also one. Right? So because of this lackiness, nowadays they have started giving more importance to emotional intelligence, or of late they have realized that there is something like emotional intelligence. Are our emotions intelligent? Think it over. If you say yes, why? Why? Please apply some of the things which we have already discussed. Are emotions illogical? Are emotional without any reason? Are they affect our action or not? Yes, friends, emotions are highly intelligent. They have primacy over IQ for building group intelligence and social capital. Social capital we'll discuss in a greater detail later. It refers to the relation between the people. Here, intelligence won't work. EQ is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions and the emotions of others. Dear students, please internalize this. This is one of the most accurate definitions. Gist of the thing. Emotional intelligence refers to recognizing your emotions. So, for example, you are sitting and watching this class. what you are feeling. Are you feeling very bad? First, you should recognize, right? After recognizing that, whether you have high energy, low pleasant, first you have to recognize. Afterwards, you have to understand. You have to understand that. Afterwards, you have to manage that. Here, two important things: your own emotions and the emotions of others. This is very important. Most students forget these things. If you forget, recognize, understand, manage, doesn't matter. Write in your own words how you are feeling, why you are feeling, how to manage them. So one of the best definition is to recognize your emotions. What is emotional intelligence? To recognize why you are feeling like that. Say, for example, there's someone, if you come across those people, you'll feel bad. There are some people, if you come across them, you will feel good. Why? You recognize. First, recognize how you are feeling. Afterwards, understand them. Afterwards, manage them. In your own and in others. This is emotional intelligence. Right? I repeat, it is about what is going on in you with respect to emotions. Why you are feeling like that, and how to manage those things. That's it. This is emotional intelligence. How to develop emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the one of the most important aspect which decides your performance in a career, which decides your performance when there is a stress and strain situation, when the things are not working. In this regard, to tell you how to develop emotional intelligence, there was a question in UPSC. Models have developed. So these are emotional intelligence models. What are emotional intelligence models? Emotional intelligence models are the models which tell us how to develop the emotional intelligence. In this regard, first one is ability model. First one is ability model. Ability model of emotional intelligence. According to this, emotional intelligence is nothing but intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a pure form of mental ability or intelligence. This is according to John Mayer and Peter Solvay, those who coined this term. So they saw emotions as pure form of mental ability. They equated this to intelligence. On the other hand, mixed emotional intelligence model, they combined mental ability with the personality characteristics. Very easy to remember. Ability model. According to ability model, emotional intelligence is mental ability equal to intelligence. On the other hand, mixed. Here they said that yes, it is a mix of mental ability with personality characters like optimism and well-being. This is given by Daniel Goleman. This is one of the most important thing which you have to internalize. So this is pretty simple. We'll be discussing this model also, but very briefly. But you have to internalize the second one. Mixed emotional intelligence model, ability model. And there is another trait emotional intelligence model where emotional intelligence is equal to individual self-perceptions and measured by self-report. According to this, emotional intelligence is what individual feels, how individual perceives the thing. So it is individual self-perceptions. See here, First, it was equated to intelligence, mental ability. Second, mixed, both mental and also personal characters. Here, trait model, in this one, what they are saying, it is all dependent on you, how you feel, how you report the thing. Petridis et al. They have proposed this. Let us see all these things in a very, very simple way. Dear students, please give due attention. If you read on your own, you may not grasp the things so easily. I have made the things very simple. Please internalize them and make the most of it. So, mixed emotional intelligence model. What is this? Combination of mental ability with personal characteristics. Daniel Goldman. Here, Daniel Goldman previously was having these things in emotional intelligence model. Of late, he has come up with 4 things. Dear students, if you write, if you explain these terms, this is also okay. The latest model is this one. So we'll be concentrating on this. There is nothing. They have simply made some changes. That's it. So how to develop emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence we have defined with respect to recognizing, with respect to understanding, with respect to managing them in you and in others. So here, see this model, how to remember that? Self-awareness, self-management. It is about you. Social awareness, relationship management. It is about others, right? Clear? This is the one. Here, one important thing, self-awareness is the basis for this model. Recognizing your emotion, understanding your emotions, managing your emotions in you and others. So self-awareness, self-management, social awareness in others, and relationship management. In this, motivation and empathy are included among this. So motivation and empathy are very, very important thing. See, as you can see, self-awareness, self-regulation, they have put in a different way. Since it is the latest one, we'll concentrate on this one. Right? Self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness means knowing what one feels and why. In self-awareness, first one is emotional self-awareness. In that, with respect to emotions, you should be aware and you should be knowing what one is feeling and why he is feeling. The second one is accurate self-assessment. After you know what one is feeling and why, you should have that assessment of things accurately. There, you should know your abilities and limitations. We are all not having the same abilities. At the same time, we are not having the same abilities. After awareness, taking into consideration of your abilities and limitations, you have to self-assess. Then, the students, self-confidence. Here they have defined self-confidence as a belief in one's own capacities and decisions. So in self-awareness, I have got 3 important things, that is with respect to self-awareness, self-assessment, and self-confidence. So these 3 are very, very important. You have to logically connect these things. If you mug up these things, it is very, very difficult. Second one, as we saw, this is with respect to self-management. So here, how will you manage the things? Self. See, the previous one was with respect to self-awareness. In awareness, emotional self-awareness was there, then accurate self-assessment was there, and there was a need of confidence with respect to your abilities, with respect to what you do, right? So now self-management. In that, first of all, you should have self-control. You should have emotional self-control. Mean to say that keep feelings and emotions under control. Emotional self-control. Then there should be transparency. Means there should be an integrity between the things in having one's action consistent. So there is no need for you to fake the things. You should express what you are feeling. There is no need to suppress what is happening. So there should be transparency in that. Adaptability, ability to be flexible. Self-management has many important things in this: self-control, being transparent, being able to adapt yourself, having the ability, the flexibility, achievement orientation, very, very important, accomplishing things through one's own efforts. Here, achievement orientation is one of the most important thing, my dear students. Whenever you are having some achievement orientation, say for example, now you have got an achievement orientation with respect to cracking sensors. In this thing, how can this happen? This achievement orientation will have meaning and will have more effect when you apply these things through one's own efforts, when you achieve these things with one's own effort. If you think that someone will help you, or if you are criticizing someone for not giving notes or not having the things, no. The day you think that you can do on your own, the things will change. Whenever you try to take a project, whenever you try to do some work, first of all, always say to yourself that I can do on my own. Initiative, identify the problem and take action. Initiative is a very, very important thing. Say for example, if you don't initiate, the things won't move. Think that this is a ball, this is at rest, this is at rest. For this ball to move from inertia to motion, lot of energy is required. But once the ball gets moving, very, very less energy is required. Those of you who might be riding some vehicles with gear, you might have know this. When the vehicle is at rest, how do you move that? By applying that to first gear, which is powerful. Afterwards, second, after third, after fourth. Dear students, whenever you want to take any action, initiation is very, very important. It is said, whenever you are not feeling well or whenever you want to take up some work, first start it. If you want to read a novel of 1,000 pages, just start with a small thing. What is that? Please keep that book on the table, arrange the table. If possible, open the book. Afterwards, if you are not feeling, leave it. After opening the book, no need for you to read the entire book at a go. Just try to read the first word here. That will be enough. Afterwards, try to read one page. Afterwards, if possible, try to read another page. Anything, it just happened by small. To eat elephant, you have to eat bit by bit. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with single step. Anything, dear students, if you have thought of doing something and if you are not doing, just start it. Not only reading, with respect to cleaning your room, with respect to arranging the things, or you always thought of calling someone you did not call, just you see whether you have that number or not. So initiation is very, very important. Optimize persistence to pursue the goals. What is optimizing? It is persistence to pursue your goal. If you don't have this optimization, it is very, very difficult to achieve. So these are the most important things in self-management. Dear students, please go through and interlink these things. And also think these are the, while reading these things, think these are the things which are required for emotional intelligence. How to develop emotional intelligence? These are the ways. These are the things with respect to an individual, about him. Next, the third one, social awareness. In social awareness domain, empathy, awareness of others' emotions, concerns, and needs, very, very important. So empathy is very, very important. How can you be aware of others? Being empathetic. What is empathy? Putting yourself in others' shoes. Or in Goldman's words, awareness of others' emotions, concerns, and needs. How can this happen? The best method is when you put yourself in others' shoes. Is it clear to you? So empathy means awareness about others' emotions, knowing about other emotions, need, concerns. The best method for that is putting yourself in their shoes. Empathy is needed. Next, organizational awareness should be there. If you are working in an organization, internal and external power centers. Internal and external power centers. If you want some job to get done, think that your boss has a very good rapport and is very friendly with another individual, maybe his friend or anyone. So power center also exists here. In many cases, it does happen. If you want to get done, say for example, IAS, IPS, or AMD, or anyone, their power center, some will be their mother, their children, or their spouse. So in an organization, sorry, you should be aware of the power centers and also power relations which exist. If you are not aware, you cannot act in an appropriate way. So you should be having awareness of this power centers. Service orientation, desire to help others. This is one of the most important thing. If you don't have the service orientation, and if you always have the habit of calculating the things, like I have help, you should help. This is the reason why relations get spoiled. A 1-year child, whatever it does, for example, you are playing, sometimes it urinates on you, sometimes it beats you. Why you won't feel bad? Because you like everything about that child. See, if this can happen with any of the individuals outside, then that is the person whom you should choose as your partner. Very important. See, there is one individual, whatever he does, you are feeling that that is good. If he is arrogant, you feel that that is courage. That is the perfect match for you. In fact, they say that then you may be in love. So, dear students, it's a very, very high time. Your job, all these things will be there, but very important step in your life, that is marriage. You have to be very, very conscious. Right? So, with respect to a child, we won't be expecting anything. So we'll be having a desire to serve, desire to help. The same thing you should have. Otherwise, the relation cannot persist. It is not always give and take. Right? These are with respect to social awareness. how social awareness can be there. One is you should have empathy, you should have organizational awareness with respect to the power centers, power relations, and you should have a service orientation. If you don't have this, social awareness domain won't be complete. Next is relationship management. In this regard, one is developing others, understand people's needs and help in building others. Some of the great managers, some of the great CEOs are those who have helped others in building their abilities. Dear students, say for example, you are in a class where if an individual says something wrong, if there are some few guys who are laughing at him, this shows their ignorance because they have not yet developed fully. If they would have understood. He's in the process, he's learning. I have also gone through those things. Always, you should have this thing of understanding people needs and help them in building. In civil service also, you have to have this. I always give you one important example. Often students are confused as to why youngsters are getting good rank nowadays. There is a person who has been preparing, say all of you have 6 attempts minimum. There are 2 ways of going out from civil service preparation. You take it from me. What is this? Number 1, the best method, and I wish for all of you, is getting service and going. The other is after completing all of your attempts. Where these youths are able to get the service at the earliest. One of the reason is they have group work. They are helping each other. They are developing each other. By doing that, see, all of us have 24 hours. In that, think that you have a group of 3 or 4 who are preparing notes, who are sharing the things, who are trying to help each other, who are trying to develop others, who are understanding others' needs when they are not emotionally good, when what they need, it will be a game changer. Because at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours. Group work is very, very important. This group work can be possible only when you try to develop others. Inspirational leadership, able to articulate and arouse enthusiasm and to lead by example. You should have an inspirational kind of leadership. Leadership, what is the one important, most important characteristic of a leadership? The most important characteristic of leadership is to inspire people and to make them follow. Are you getting me? Leadership, how are you able to influence others? Are you able to influence others is the crux of leadership. In this, you should be an inspirational leader, able to articulate, arouse enthusiasm, and lead by example. Influence, ability to pursue and convince. You should have this. Next is conflict management. In case of conflict management, handle difficult individuals, tense situations with diplomacy and fact. This is often one of the most important things. Many cases, many times it does happen. You have been friends for 10 years. Just because of one incident, you lose that 10 years friendship, the 10 years worth. Yes, you had a better, very good impression at home, but because of some things, during some conflict, just one word, things have broken the things. Dear students, there's one important thing I would like to say. Always, one important thing in conflict management is to handle the situation individual. Say, for example, your parents. They're ready to help you. to tell you, they give some advice, they have give you advice like this, all these things. So they will tell you, you do this. You leave civil service preparation. If you say no, the whole drama, the whole conflict happens. Are you getting me? Take any example, any your parents or any loved ones, when they something to you, when they are very aggressive or when they are tense, don't say no. At that point, say yes. You leave civil service preparation. Okay, I leave. What will your parents do? Almost they don't have anything to do then, because they already calculated everything. If this person says no, I will tell all these things. The moment you said yes, they're gone. So whatever anybody say, when they are not emotionally stable, just say yes at that moment. Afterwards, there are procedures. You can go no, you can say no, but not at that time. This is point clear. This is one of the important thing in conflict management. Even though you don't agree, for that moment you just say yes. Afterwards you say, Mommy, Daddy, I really don't agree with your view and I really don't do that at any cost. But just for your sake, I said, these are the things I'll be doing. This is one of the better ways. So, especially for those whom you love, cooperatively with others. This is a very, very important. It's said that in cooperation, there is a synergy. It is not 1 + 1 is equal to 2. It is always more than 2. This is what happens when you do in teamwork and when you collaborate. This happens when you have the ability to work in a cooperative way. If you don't have a cooperative mindset and if you cannot work cooperatively, you cannot have teamwork and collaboration. Change catalyst to facilitate change. As you are aware, what is a catalyst? Catalyst is a one which increases or decreases the reaction, but it doesn't change. It won't change, but it will increase or decrease a chemical reaction. Similarly, you should be like a candle. You should all like a catalyst who facilitate the change. But at the same time, you are not losing anything. Catalyst, just a word of motivation, something what you already have given them. Change catalyst. Building bonds, ability to develop and maintain working relationship. This is one of the most important thing, my dear students. Building bonds is a very important aspect. This happens with time and a lot of energy. The bond which you had with your friends, it will be same, it will be giving same wow, even after 10 years. It doesn't matter you say good morning, good evening, happy friendship day, all these things. But if you have built that bond will last. So you should have a bond building ability to develop and maintain working relations. These are with respect to relationship management. Right? The students, these are very, very important. Here, I'll tell you the crux with respect to these things. There is no need for you to behead these things. And also, there is no need for you to write all these things. It is not possible also. They will ask how to develop emotional intelligence. Based on the things I have provided, you just have a framework in the 4 broad categories which we have mentioned, right? So here you should have a fair understanding with respect to self-awareness, how you have to be aware, self-management, how, social awareness, the other way with respect to people, and relationship management. Each and every aspect what I have given, it will be more than sufficient. Just internalize those things and interrelate. Right? Next, we discussed another model previously. We had just a brief thing. Ability model of emotional intelligence is a fairly simple model. Here, they are relating emotional intelligence to mental ability that is equal to intelligence. John Mayer and Peter Solvay, they have given this one. That is the reason we'll be just having a brief outlook with respect to this thing. See here, concentrate here, how they have taken the things. See here, you have to think with a heading, how to develop emotional intelligence, not about the model. Right? What are these models? These are the models which are saying how to develop emotional intelligence. So, according to this model, perceive emotions, that is, identified and interpret emotions, perceive them. What type of emotions are there? Interpret them. Then, using emotion to cognitive activities such as thinking. After perceiving, after identifying and interpreting the emotions, use them for cognitive activities, reasoning, thought. Afterwards, understanding emotion, comprehend the emotional language present in you and others. Then managing emotions. See, this is pretty easy for you. Here, perceive, use, understand, and manage. Very simple model. This is like not followed by many. That which we discussed, mixed model, is the one which is followed, and it's a elaborate one. Just internalize the things what I have given with respect to these things in the slides. It will be more than sufficient, otherwise you get confused, but I will give you the full literature for you. Right. Next, dear students, utility of emotional intelligence in administration and governance. Here we have discussed what is emotional intelligence. Then I want you to come up with the points. What is the utility? What is the use of emotional intelligence in administration and governance? Please come up. Simply giving few points is not a big thing for me. How it is important?
In making our decisions.
Making our decisions. One, making our decision. Okay. Then okay.
Our behavior.
Okay, how making in decisions? We have discussed already. Emotions are very, very important and they are integral part of reason. Emotions and reasons are interdependent and they support one another. Your decisions are based on reason. So that is one. Second one, conflict resolution. How? How conflict resolution? Very good, conflict resolution. How? Anyone? Any other thing? See, this is one of the simplest thing. And here in this, I will show you how to write the essay also. One. So decision making, conflict resolution. Third one. Is this the only thing?
Building up the team.
Building up team. Okay. How? Okay, come with the points. We'll discuss. Team, then
It helps in managing our own behavior and
okay,
day-to-day
managing
activity.
our own behavior. Then Pawan, from your side. So I expect Shiv Prasad from your side, Babu Rao, Divakar Babu, Lalita.
Sir,
Please go ahead.
it is like a motivation.
It is like a motivation. Who said this?
Sir,
Okay. It is like motivation. Okay. Like, can you elaborate if possible how motivation? Or anyone, please come up with the points. How emotional intelligence is important in administration and governance. See, whatever you said is true, and these are general. Okay. At the peak of emotions, we emphasize and agree, and then calmly, logically explain to understand the other person, understand the logic behind. Okay, good one. Anyone? Anything? Any other point?
It helps in fulfilling our duty effectively.
How?
Because if we are emotionally biased, then we won't follow our duty.
Okay, okay. Please come again. I just got distracted. How?
If it effectively helps us in fulfilling our duty.
How?
Because if we are emotionally biased, we won't fulfill our duty correctly. Maybe we will show uh, partiality towards the emotion to someone.
Okay, well tried. Little fine tuning needed. Then some are messaging on the chat. Okay, dear students, here whatever you have said are true, but one important thing you are missing. See here, first you analyze what is administration, then understand what is governance. You'll get plenty of points. Administration is a cooperative work, cooperative group work, where you are interacting, cooperative group of where you are interacting with people. How can this cooperation possible? This cooperation is possible when you understand others. At the same time, when you understand yourself. What is governance? Anything which maximizes the welfare of the people.
Sir,
Please go ahead.
sir, in this utility of emotional intelligence in administration and governance, so can we write the examples of civil servants who have used this emotional intelligence in their real life? So
100%, like point in context. 1 minute. Dear students, you should have at least examples of 20 civil servants. I repeat, you should have examples ready, or name of, not even examples. You should have name of 20 civil servants ready before examination. Just you should be see that they are very popular. Just by having these examples, you will get more number of marks. Once again, I repeat, you should have the 20 important civil servants, and you have to mention them without fail. If you have them, definitely you can think and you can put with respect to ethics, integrity, impartiality, non-partisanship, all these things. Right? Okay. Go ahead. Sorry for interrupting. How? See, this is the way you have to decipher. In administration, there is cooperative group effort to achieve our goal. Here, how can you have cooperation? When you know others' emotions, when you know what others are feeling. How can you lead? Governance, maximizing the welfare of the people. How can you maximize the welfare of the people? When you know their needs, when you know what they are feeling, why they are feeling, how to manage them, when you recognize the feelings, when you understand the feelings, when you manage the feelings. Say, for example, public services. When can you give good public service? Citizen charter. When can you have a better citizen charter? When you understand what people want. Then with respect to governance, there are many aspects of governance with respect to good governance. So what are the aspects which you have come across in good governance? Here, some of the things, participation. Okay, very good. See, you can participate and you can make others participate when you know other people. Then related to this, responsive. When can you be responsive? Administration is all about citizen centricity. With respect to delivery of services, what is the one important criteria? Satisfaction of the people. So dear students, it's a very simple thing. What you have to do here, see here, there is no hard and fast structure for these things. People like me and you have come up with some things. What I expect from you is, you have to go beyond. See, in civil service, that is one of the things. You should think that you are the one of the most intelligent person. See, this is an exam where it's a competition. When you think others are more intelligent, already half of the battle is gone. Because you are already appreciating and you are already said that in that war he's mightier, stronger than you. Tell yourself that you are the intelligent person. So here you have to analyze the things with respect to administration, right? With respect to governance. Okay, let me have another angle here. Take the CSAT syllabus, civil service aptitude test. What are the things present here in CSAT? Please just tell me the important topics what you have. CSAT paper. Not aware?
Logical reasoning.
Logical reasoning. Then
Ethics.
please come again.
Interpersonal skills.
Ethics.
Okay. Then
Decision making.
decision making.
Reading comprehension.
Regulations.
Reading
Please come
comprehension.
again.
Reading comprehension. Quantitative aptitude.
Quantitative aptitude.
Mental ability.
Mental ability. Then please come to the
Basic
foundational
maths.
values of civil service. What are the foundational values of civil service?
Commitment to the Constitution.
Commitment to Constitution. Then very important. impartiality, non-partisanship, objectivity,
Accountability.
dedication to public service, empathy, compassion, tolerance. See here, can you have empathy without emotional intelligence? Can you have compassion without emotional intelligence? Can you have tolerance without emotional intelligence? Can you have dedication for civil service without emotional intelligence? Dear students, these are the ways in which, see here, I am not telling anything new, or no, I am not telling anything illogical. I am just deciphering the things for you. With respect to governance, governance is all encompassing. It includes government, it includes private organizations, non-governmental organizations, international organizations, your relations with other countries. Here you will be acting as a civil servant. All these things you have to think over and you have to connect this. With respect to foundational values, emotional intelligence is very, very important. And you can directly write how it is helpful in administration as a civil servant. Empathy, compassion, tolerance, dedication to public service. These are the things which are not possible without emotional intelligence. And here we are dealing with people. People are full of emotions. We are not dealing with stones, right? Utility. In this, I would like to explain a little about social capital and some of the terms which you should be often using these things. And many of the students are not having a clarity with respect to these things. I'll elaborate those things. Social capital refers to the bonds among the members of the society. Let me elaborate this. Social capital refers to the bonds between the people. For this, for a better understanding of the things, physical capital, please give due attention, physical capital. It refers to machinery, tools, technology, physical capital. With respect to financial capital, refers to money related things. People who produce goods and services are human capital. See, these are very, very important. See, until and unless you have clarity over these things, it is very difficult to write. What is human capital? Human capital are the people who are capable or who produce the goods and services. So when they ask how to develop human capital, what you should be writing? How to develop human capital means how to make people produce more goods and services. On the other hand, social capital refers to the bonds of mutual respect and care among the members of a collectivity, of a group. So here the emotional intelligence plays a very important role, right? So physical capital, financial capital, human capital, social capital refers to the intimate relations, the warmth what we have, how we share the things, how we help each other, respect and care what we have to each other. This all can happen when we have emotional intelligence. Human capital is investment in people. So social capital is investment in relation. How to make people produce more services. Human capital, it is about goods and services. When can you make people more productive? When they are healthy, when they are educated. On the other hand, social capital, the very, very important thing, means making people live in harmony. Social capital is having a kind of brotherhood. One more important thing, dear students, in your ethics paper, like often you come across you as a member of society, member of Indian society, member of American society, you as a boy, you as a girl, you as a youth, you as an old person, you as a poor, you as a rich. Whenever you locate yourself among any of these things, already your knowledge, your interpretation is going wrong. By identifying yourself with any of the things, your answer is going bad. So you should be biased with these things. Say, for example, with respect to reservation. So here, often what I have found is, in case of if we talk about the reservation, why do the people who are getting reservation, maybe SC, ST, OBC, girls, all these things, why they say that there should be reservation? Because they identify there. Say, for example, a person from like general category, he says that there is no need of reservation. These kind of thoughts you shouldn't have. You should go beyond all these things. Then only your answers will be good. What are the basic things which should guide you in your answers? The preamble of the Constitution. As I told you, dear students, very important thing, preamble, by heart it. Anything, see, there you will get points with respect to social empowerment, with respect to brotherhood, with respect to integrity. All the constitutional principles are present there. Just reproduce them. It's like a mirror to the Constitution. So you should have all these things. Capital, human capital is investment in people. Social capital is investment in the relations among the people. In 2013, we had a question, what is emotional intelligence and how can it be developed in people? How does it help an individual in taking ethical decisions? How does it help an individual in taking ethical decisions? What is the main motto of ethics? What is the basis for ethics? How we can develop? I have already given 2 models. Either of one is good enough, or even if you want, you can write on your own incorporating the things. Let us see the answer for this and some of the UPSC questions they have asked. Here, some points which you have to keep in mind is, without emotional intelligence, an individual cannot take ethical decisions. This is one of the important things. Judging a situation or a problem ethically entails our own values and parameters of right and wrong, as well as considering the standard ethical rules of the society that we live in. Only an emotional intelligence person can take cognizance of what is good of the society and how it is related, how a decision leads to the matching with the standards of the society. If you are not emotionally intelligent in this, see, ethical standards. Is there anyone who doesn't know the ethical standards? Everybody knows the ethical standard. Everybody knows that it is a bad thing to steal. Everybody knows that it is a bad thing to be corrupt. But an emotionally intelligent person alone can take ethical decisions. Let us elaborate these things with other questions which have been given in UPSC. In 2016, how will you apply emotional intelligence in administration practices? So very simple. First, just as we discussed, define what is administration. We elaborately have discussed. Then apply those things. Then you have got how to develop emotional intelligence. We have discussed the model. You put everything there. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. Do you agree with this viewpoint discuss? See, this is a question, but in next year answer, you have to take this as a point. What is emotional intelligence? If the examiner asks you, just write this. Emotional intelligence is the ability to make your emotions work for you instead of against you. UPSC cannot say no. Once again, I am saying, my dear students, please squeeze the questions. What UPSC is thinking, you'll get the thing. So write them, use them often. And as I told you, use toppers answer sheets as one of the guiding principles. Not only that, when you see their answer sheets, you will get a lot of confidence. See, this fellow can write like this. I can write better than him. Then you will analyze like how generally they are writing. Otherwise, you will be thinking of mugging up the things which is not possible and which is not desirable too. All governance is people governance. All public service is people service. So it's all about people. You should be aware of their feelings, what they feel, how they feel, and you have to understand them. You have to manage them. Relationships are the DNA of governance. We define governance according to second ARC, which says that anything which maximizes the welfare of the people. Governance is collective decision making, collective problem solving, collective law making and implementation. Here, the relationships are very, very important. Governance includes all the mechanisms, all the procedures, all the structures. At the same time, governance includes the values, ethical standards, the norms. There are some things which are visible and there are some things which are not that visible. You add everything with respect to these things. All governance is people governance, all public service is people service. Relationships are the DNA of governance. It connects, feels, and understands the people. Emotional intelligence connects. Emotional intelligence feels. Emotional intelligence understands the people. Relationships are the DNA of governance. This relationship can be built only when you are having emotional intelligence. How do you define, how do you evaluate the success of a project? In democracy, what is important? People. Satisfaction of people is important. When can you satisfy the people? When you understand them. Motivation and creativity, ethical decision making, especially when you become a civil servant. Negotiation, a very, very important aspect. See, you might have often seen, especially negotiation, don't write this, bargaining. It is said that some are very, very good in bargaining. On the other hand, some are very, very bad. Because they know how to manage these things. They know like what to ask, what not to ask. They know they have many tactics. Like they'll say, okay, if you're not giving, okay, I don't want this. Then this person will call. Please, madam, don't go, come, we'll give. They know if they go on arguing in that place, asking for reduction in the price, they may not pick you. When you are negotiating, you should understand others' feelings. You have to influence them. Leadership is a relation. You can lead the people. What is one of the most important characteristics of leadership? Influencing. When can you influence the thing? This may be with respect to local, national, or international. In all aspects, it is very, very important, dear students. So I'll give a homework for you. What is that homework? you have to apply how emotional intelligence is important. First, understand about emotions. It is about recognizing, it is about managing, it is about using your emotions. And here, emotional intelligence, how it is important. You take the civil service values. Number one, emotional intelligence apply with respect to civil service values. Just you correlate these things with some of the civil service values which are very, very important from emotional intelligence perspective. Then you take good governance. In that, we have discussed many important things with respect to participation, responsible, making the citizen-centric things. Please do apply these things. It's very, very important. This question, emotional intelligence and its application to administration in governance, already they have asked. They will ask again. If you have already prepared, you can just reproduce them. Ethical decision making. This ethical decision making can happen. Motivation can happen when you are emotionally intelligent. So these are some of the important things you have to keep in mind, right? Please come with the examples. Please interrelate. I reiterate, emotional intelligence, you collide with civil service values. Emotional intelligence, you collide with good governance things. And last but not the least, please try to interrelate emotional intelligence to every aspect of the syllabus. So any doubt with respect to the things which we have discussed? Any other thing other than the subjects we have discussed? If I have any, I'll be very happy to discuss those things. Okay, if you don't have any doubt, let me wind up the session here. We'll meet tomorrow.